This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Hello, I'm Mimi. I'm a digital artist and content creator who spent the best part of her 20s failing to start a creative business again and again until at 28 I got fed up and decided to take it seriously and properly commit to doing it the slow and steady way. Now I'm nearly 4 years into that journey, and last year my business brought in 144,000 Australian dollars in revenue, which I actually can't believe I can say out loud. So what did I do differently this time compared to all the other times? I managed to overcome the 3 main reasons why I think it's so hard to grow a creative business, and I'm going to tell you my solutions. This video is about how you can set yourself up for success in building your own income from your creative skills, just like this little bear that I'm going to draw today. And I have a brand new Skillshare class on the topic that I want to tell you about in a little bit as well. So today I'm talking to the artists, illustrators, and crafters who want to get serious about having a creative business and who are willing to take the slower, less talked about route of thinking in years rather than weeks and months. It's hard, it's not for everyone, but building a business of my own where I can do what I love is the most rewarding and empowering thing I've ever done. If, on the other hand, you want short-term, explosive success, then I don't have any experience with that, so I'm sorry, but this is probably not the video for you. And by the way, it's totally fine if you don't want to earn an income from your art as well, or if you just want to experiment with making a little side income. It's your journey, so you can customize it how you like. So let's talk about why it's so hard to get a creative business off the ground and how you can overcome those challenges to set yourself up with the best chance of success. Reason number 1, unrealistic expectations. The first problem is that so much of the advice out there is from people who were an overnight success, or set up a 6-figure business within months, or started making thousands on Etsy in 30 days. We see those because they're the videos that perform well, and I'm sure that some of those stories are true, but they're the exception and not the rule, otherwise everyone would be doing it. They also usually lack a lot of important context about where those people were starting from, so we don't usually know the full story, and yet we expect ourselves to be able to start from scratch and have the same success as they did. It gives us an unrealistic expectation of what growing a business is like, which is definitely what I had earlier in my 20s, and it makes us feel like if we don't have the same success, that we must be doing something wrong. So naturally we feel disheartened and give up on our ideas before seeing them all the way through. That's not your fault. It's only natural that if we work hard on something and don't start seeing the results we expect, that we'll feel like it's not worth our time. Trying to get rich quick with an art business is like entering the lottery, and I'm sure it works for a few people, but I don't want to tell you how to enter the lottery. I want to tell you how to actually make your own successful, sustainable business with your art skills. So what's the solution? Think long term. Don't go into your business journey thinking you'll be making lots of money in 6 months or even 12 months. You might be, and that would be great, but it's dangerous to go into it with those expectations if you're serious about making it work long term. Think about what is sustainable for you. What can you keep doing for years rather than months because you love it and are passionate about sharing it with the world? The thing that made my current attempt to start a creative business successful when my other attempts failed was that I went into it expecting it to take 3 years. I figured I would start earning money before then, but I wasn't expecting to make anything that came close to a regular salary until about 3 years in, just like if I were a student studying a degree full-time. In reality, I was making enough money to break even and scrape by after about 1.5 years, enough to be comfortable after about 2 years, and had a really reasonable salary during my 3rd year of my business. If I had started this journey expecting to have started earning money within 6 months and be earning a really decent wage after 12 months, I would have quit. Without a doubt, I would have decided that it wasn't working, stopped what I was doing, and gone back to my cycle of getting another job, getting tired of that job, trying again to have a creative business for 6 months or so, failing again, and so on. I don't want you to be in that cycle. I want this to be the time when you have a clear plan going into your art business journey about why you're doing it, what your business strategy is, and realistically how many years it's going to take. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about my new Skillshare class that just went live. They're also the sponsor of this video, and if you haven't heard of Skillshare, they're an online learning community with lots of incredible classes on all sorts of topics like digital art, entrepreneurship, and productivity. My new class is called Long-Term Success for Artists, Grow and Maintain Your Income Streams, and it's an introduction to how you can grow some of the more common income streams for artists and the power of having multiple sources of income for stability in your business. I've made a workbook that you can download for free with the class where I'll guide you through making just a really rough timeline for your art business so that you have a realistic idea of how long it'll take to grow. It's such a useful exercise because it helps you avoid trying to prioritize too many things at once, which I'm always at risk of doing, so I'm really glad that I get to share it with you. If you enjoyed my first class about planning your creative business, then I think you'll find this one helpful too, because it's sort of the next steps of actually growing your income streams. And you can watch both of my classes for free today because the first 500 people to use the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. There are so many things you can learn in that month. Once you've watched my classes, they also have some incredible learning pathways for things like learning Procreate, beating art block, and getting organized. Thanks so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to why it's so hard to start a creative business in the first place. Reason number 2, social media. So the second problem is that social media is a really powerful part of the equation if you're selling anything online, and social media platforms are frankly all over the place. They're hard to keep up with. Sometimes they work in your favor and sometimes they don't, and they all want to be treated like the number one priority in your life at all times. That makes it really hard to reach your audience, so even if you have a fantastic product to sell, you might not be able to show it to your ideal customer on social media. It's frustrating, it's disheartening, and the worst part is that it can make you feel really bad about your art. We spend all this time and energy making content, we try to do what we think the algorithm wants, and so many of us just don't get the results we were hoping for. So how long are we supposed to stick with it for? So what's the solution? Find the sweet spot. There is always a sweet spot on social media for the type of content that performs well for your account. So if what you're posting is consistently not getting much reach, then experiment with some different things. Algorithms change all the time, but at the heart of them always seems to be keeping people engaged and on the platform for longer. So think about why people would be engaged in your current content, and if you can't find a good reason, then maybe it's time to pivot a little bit. A great place to start is to make your audience feel something with what you post. I personally aim to make art that makes people feel happy, that brings a bit of joy into their day or makes them smile. That's valuable to a lot of people, and some of those people might follow me for a while. So think about what value your social media content is providing your audience, because if you don't know, then they probably don't know either. And sometimes you have to do something crazy and difficult in the short term to make it work in the long term. I drew and posted something every single weekday for a full year. I made it a priority in my day, even if I only had half an hour to tick off that job. Sometimes it was a bit of a pain in the bum, but for the most part I really enjoyed it because I was excited to improve my art skills little by little. Even if I didn't see much progress with my followers, I would be able to look back over my account and see progress in my art, and that kept me motivated for the year even when growth was slow. So personally, I chose to put all of my energy up front into growing an audience because I knew it would be essential to sell what I wanted to sell, which was art tutorials and content that helped people. So try and find the sweet spot between what you love to make, what other people want to connect with, and what you can post regularly, because that will really help you increase your chances of the algorithm being in your favor. And reason number 3, it just requires so much. The third problem is that building income as a creative just requires so much input for so long. It takes ages. If you're starting from scratch like I did a few years ago, then you are nurturing a baby from the ground up, and you will need to be there for that baby nearly every day if you want it to have everything it needs to grow happy and healthy. You have to be so deeply motivated to make this work that you can keep showing up after the initial excitement wears off, and that's really hard. That motivation needs to see you through difficult days when it feels like you're going backwards, it needs to see you through some late nights when you're a bit behind, and it needs to see you through all of your self-doubts telling you that you're not good enough to be doing this. It's hard to make a living from your art skills because it's just difficult to give so much of yourself to something, especially when there's no guarantee that it'll work and there's nobody paying you for just showing up and trying. To give you some perspective, I was 7 months into posting my art on Instagram every weekday and had drawn about 158 illustrations before I earned my first $40 from an art commission. And I can't tell you the amount of times in my second year that I would be excited about making some progress and then look around and realize that I had been putting in all this energy for over a year and I still wasn't earning enough money to cover my rent. So what's the solution? Understand your motivation, find a way to keep up that motivation, and make a plan. It's important to get to know why you want to grow this creative business because that's the foundation that everything else is going to be built on top of. Your motivation won't always be strong, but you can find ways to top up your motivation when it starts to fall a bit. Personally, I like to keep a folder of positive comments and messages on my computer so that I can read them when I need a motivation boost, or I go for a walk and think of some cute art ideas that I want to draw for myself just for fun. It's then important to have a plan so that you know that all the energy you're putting in is taking you in the right direction. That's why I made my 2 Skillshare classes to help guide you through the planning process, but you can also do it on your own by getting clear on what it is that you're selling, who you're selling to, and how you'll reach them. Knowing those things will give you the confidence that you're on track after the initial excitement of getting started. Ultimately though, things do just take time, so if you have more time available, you'll get it done faster, and if you have less time available, it'll take longer. If you have money to invest, then you can pay people to help, but if you don't, then you invest your own time instead. Because it takes time, you'll need to make sure that you look after yourself and refresh your energy often because otherwise you're at risk of burning out and throwing in the towel. Sometimes it feels counterproductive to do less, but rest is so crucial because you'll work far more efficiently if you've had a chance to recover. Now, the good thing about the energy you put into your business is that it's all growing something for yourself. You're not working for anyone else, so everything that you make is yours and everything you learn you get to use for yourself. So each day is an investment that will continue to pay off down the line. And if you're worried because you can't afford to wait as long as I did before you start selling products, then you can absolutely start prioritizing earning money before I did. My plan was to really focus on growing my audience first, which is why it took me quite a while to start growing my income streams. We're all on our own path, so there's truly no right or wrong way to do things. So I really hope these solutions help you overcome some of the challenges that you face on your own creative journey. It's taken me nearly 4 years to get to this point in my business, and it was worth every bit of energy I put into it, even though sometimes it felt like it wasn't going to be. And it's totally okay if after watching this video you decide that actually you'd rather not try and earn an income from your art and you'd prefer to just enjoy it as a hobby. That's why I like to talk about it, because I want you to know that it's challenging, but also that you're totally capable of growing your own creative business if you want to. Thanks so much for watching this video, and be sure to go and watch my new Skillshare class if you'd like some more guidance on long-term success as an artist. Or if you'd like to access my library of art lessons and my monthly illustration club, then join me on Patreon where I post a couple of times a week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!